Hello and welcome to Sensei podcast. This is Manos Brilakis discussing with leaders in the field of CTO and complex PCI. Sensei means teacher or master in Japanese. The goal of the Sensei podcast is to help you learn and improve in CTO and complex PCI so that you can become the best that you can be and offer your patients the best possible results. So hello everyone and welcome to Sensei Podcast. It is my great pleasure to introduce Dr. Goran Stankovic, who directs the Department of Cardiology at the Clinical Center of Serbia, where he's the Chief of Diagnostic Interventional Department, and also he's a professor at the University of Belgrade. He's a great friend. He's been one of the key people in the Euro Bifurcation Club, and he has taught me and many others how to do bifurcation of complex PCI. So, Goran, thank you again so much for being with us today.
No, thank you very much, Manos. It's a really great privilege and honor for me to join you, and thank you for the invitation.
Goran, maybe you tell us from the beginning. How did you become a cardiologist? Was it something you always wanted to do? How did this happen?
But it happened honestly by chance, because during medical school at the third grade, when we had pathology, I was trying to find professor who is willing to be my mentor to write scientific article, because I was really obsessed to really contribute to the community. And I found professor cardiopathologist. He was an academician at that time, Professor Kanyuk. And he told me, okay, this is the material, heart rupture following myocardial infarction. And I spent 6 months collecting data, and it was published in Students' Journal, and I was so proud. I received some awards of the University of Belgrade that I became a regular part of the team. Then when I finished medical school, I wanted to do some work related to cath lab, because I saw some of the pioneers doing diagnostic and interventional procedures with small catheter through the groin. And this was something to operate on heart without opening chest. So that was the next frontier. And then I was lucky. I got my first position at University Clinical Center in 1989. In 96, my mentor at that time, Professor Ostojic, introduced me Professor Denis Kokinus, who was head of the cardiology in Onassis Cardiac Surgery Center in Athens. And I had 3 months fellowship in Athens, and this was wonderful time. And again, as soon as I arrived, there is a fantastic friend and cardiologist, George Athanasopoulos, and I asked him if I can have access to his database, because that was the time of the debate and destiny study. I was impressed with coronary flow physiology, and he showed me how to access database. And in these 3 months, I collected data and I wrote paper related to stymphylin count, like the measure of flow, and the caliper measured minimal lumen diameter of coronary vessel at the end of procedure. It's like surrogate. And I published my first ever article in Circulation. And I was so proud. And I applied for fellowship in Columbus because I saw live transmissions of Antonio. And when I showed him my previous work in coronary physiology, circulation, he accepted me. So in 2000, I started 3-year fellowship in Milan, one of the most wonderful professional periods of my life. And I became, of course, obsessed with the left main and bifurcations. And everybody knows Antonio. There are really so many techniques and innovations in the field of bifurcations. So this is how I actually became passionate about treatment of coronary bifurcation. You treat one vessel, you compromise the other. And I liked with him to do two-stent strategies, to do provisional, to try to improve. And then Yves Louvard, Thierry Lefebvre, and Olivier Darmon in 2004, as soon as I left Milan, invited me to join the European Bifurcation Club. Actually, 6 of us, with Remo Albiero and Manuel Pan, created club in 2005. And this is the beginning. And after that, all these years, the focus of my career is actually work in the left main and bifurcations.
Okay, it's an amazing journey, and I guess it all started, as you said, by being proactive as a student and getting these first things going on. It is actually interesting because I also did my PhD with Dennis Kokinos as well when he was back in the Onassis Center. So it is, he's been a phenomenal leader and he's done phenomenal work. Um, so, so Goran, you've got involved into this early on, but then by from watching and doing obviously with Antonio, that was a phenomenal experience, and then develop your own techniques and developing all the skills and developing some of the best documents that we've seen, clinically very practical documents. There's a long distance. So how did the process go? How did this
Okay.
you learn and explain and create all this?
Yeah, thanks for that. But this was really very spontaneous and simply natural because the spirit of the bifurcation club was really something so attractive and so open. We invited pathologists, we invited engineers, we invited physicists. So it's not only to share data, but to fundamentally understand the patterns of flow, development of atherosclerosis, so step by step through open discussion once a year during bifurcation club, you enrich your knowledge, you share your personal experience, but you also make friends. And then in 2014, Yves Louvard recommended myself to replace him as the president of the club. So I did not expect at that point because it was really amazing responsibility to work with greatest mind in the field of left main and bifurcation PCI. But the first thing that I wanted to do, I realized that the world is really so small and we really need to open the club more because in this initial period it was mainly 100 people predominantly from Europe with very few guests from other continents. And then from the beginning I thought it's good to communicate with Korean, Japanese bifurcation club to help each other share the experience. So we wrote common documents, one with uh, Gary Mintz on IVUS guidance for left main PCI. I think this was the first collaborative work that was by inviting people outside the club to contribute actually and to lead the project because Gary was really the leader and we all contributed by our own data or parts of the document, consensus section in which we debate what is the best way to do. Then we invited Japanese bifurcation club and we wrote the same one related to OCT guidance in bifurcation interventions. And after that, I think the other clubs, Indian, Australian, South American, simply join us once a year, and we really became a collaborative network. And one of the things that we really tried from the beginning, and I insisted in the last, as you said, years, is to write document after every meeting and share that discussion with the community and be open for questions and for critical review of our documents because I'm sure that the amount of knowledge is still very limited and there is fantastic contribution each time by small study from engineer from Korea. Then you have bench testing data from John Ormiston. You know that he changed completely the perspective of bifurcation PCI with ormistograms. So we were really open for cooperation, and I believe this networking is the key for success. So I believe that now we are really at the stage that people recognize us as part of the network willing to participate in absolutely every collaborative project with everybody from the world with passion, with the same passion for bifurcation treatment.
Wonderful. And then to take it on the clinical side, how has this influenced all this process and all the work with some of the best people and centers in the world has changed the way you actually do your procedures on a day to day, the complex case, the bifurcations, the mains?
Yeah. Again, I still believe there is always some small destiny that always plays the role.
Mm.
When I came back from Milan and I was on call for acute MI immediately after coming back, a patient with occluded left main and STEMI in cardiogenic shock during the night was admitted to my lab. And I was lucky and I was really successful in opening both branches, restoring his hemodynamics with the really limited resources that we had at that time. And patient not only survived, but 2 weeks after that, he left hospital. And that was, at my best knowledge, the first STEMI in occluded left main who really survived intervention, restored the flow. And that was I think, positive energy for everybody in the lab. We have a great team of more than 10 people working in the lab. Most of them are not fellows anymore. They are in 40s with more than 10 years of experience in the cath lab. They are really associates. We have also a good program for CTO. We just started with the help of a national health insurance structural program last year, but still bifurcations, left main, calcified lesions. This is the focus of our complex interventions with passion and energy that each of us in the lab really shares. And every morning we review all acute cases from the previous 24 hours. And we also spend some time to review all elective cases scheduled for that day. And especially for complex like CTO or left main or diffuse disease, we discuss and we help operator to go in the cath lab with plan A, plan B, and plan C if something goes wrong. And we also try to help each other, even if you are not scrub, you are outside watching the procedure and trying to contribute with a comment or suggestion during the procedure. And with 20 years of doing that, we really built a very homogeneous and very experienced team. We still do more than 700 or 800 primary PCI for STEMI. And I believe that, for
Wow.
example, in the total study, my center contributed with 705 randomized patients. This really not only contributed to the study, but completely changed the way we perform primary PCI, because in communication with Vlad Javik and Sanjay Jolly with the core angio lab, we really learn what we are doing well and what can be improved. And for example, out of 705 patients, absolutely none of them had stroke. So I believe that this is still open field. Of course, we make decisions based on the guidelines, but it's also our own practice with really thousands of cases that we have now. And I believe that for acute coronary syndrome, whether it's STEMI or non-STEMI, we really have streamlined the pathways. And everybody in the team, we have two seniors on call on every day, and we really try to motivate each other to do more and to do more. So I believe this also positive energy is very important. And in addition to that, we also try to perform research as integral part of everyday work, because research is it's impossible to separate research from clinical work. You actually, by doing good clinical work, you collect data, you report this data, and you help others learn something that may also improve the outcome of their patients. And this is one of the focuses to awake this positive sparkle in everyone who is joining the team.
Wonderful. So very collaborative. And I must admit, that's fairly unique. I've spoken to many people. I think, people just review their cases, but to actually go over the cases of the whole lab, on a daily basis, I mean, that's impressive. And I think that really builds the communication, as you said, and the interaction, and everyone learns and benefits, including, of course, the patients who get the best possible treatment. Now, how do you do those cases when things don't go well? Do you get nervous? Do you get anxious in the very complex cases that you sometimes do? How do you handle the psychological aspect of it?
Mhm. Yeah, that's very difficult question, Manos, because of course, when things don't go in the direction that is predicted, when you see especially development of complication, of course, adrenaline is rising, and I believe one aspect is what I already mentioned. Most of the cases we have two seniors in the lab, maybe not exactly scrubbed in the same moment, but as soon as we foresee complication, we call also senior colleague to scrub and help to discuss and find the best possible solution. That's one technical part, and the other one, you are really aware of responsibility that you have, and really tens of thousands of patients over all these 30 plus years of the work in the cat lab. So with the help of everything that we have learned so far, and having also within the clinical center fantastic support of anesthesiologist, neurologist, uh, whatever kind of specialty is needed. We really know each other. We work 24/7. Since I came back from Italy, we never closed our lab for 5 minutes. So throughout this period, and then everybody helps everybody. So when you invite anesthesiologist, he is there in 2 minutes. Then you have another senior, and then of course with the available tools nowadays, we try to limit the extent of complication and try to stay calm as much as it is possible. But of course, there is always adrenaline, and this is something that is, I think, also helpful to think, to focus, and to get your best advice from some hidden part of the brain.
Wonderful. And then, so Goran, what pushed you? You know, as you said, you went to the professor, you went to Greece, you went to Italy. So, what pushed you in the first place? Because other people not necessarily want to follow the same path. So, why did you do all these extra trips and the extra training and the education? What was your motivation?
Yeah. Uh, I told you, since I was the third year medical school, I wanted to provide some uh, extra knowledge that I can share with my colleagues and contribute to common benefit for patients. And it's like in sport, in every discipline, it needs to come from your heart. And even when I give learning sessions at EuroPCR, I really put my heart on the floor, and I uh, easily convince people in the room that I'm really one of them, willing to share my knowledge with them, but also to learn from them. And this is part of the success of the club as well, because we really have very strong motivation to really move this field forward if we are given the opportunity. And being part of the European Bifurcation Club is really one of the best successes that I have in my professional career, because I got my best friends in my life, Thierry and Yves and Olivier. I really share with them. Our families go for vocation together. It's not just 2 day meeting. It's a way of life in which that community became integral part of my family life.
Wonderful. And how do you think is the best way for people who are learning now, like when they come into the hospital, how can you tell if they're going to be good operators and good physicians and researchers or not? Or is it something that takes a while to get a better sense of who they're going to be?
uh, uh, at least what it's impossible to say in very few words all the aspects that I try to pass when we start cooperative work. But I believe that commitment is extremely important, and patience, because I learned from Antonio, hard work pays back, but this is not really short run. It's not 100-meter race. It's really always marathon. And investing in your skill and expertise is really a yearly process. It's not something that you can do very fast. You cannot treat left main after just few cases that you do with your colleague. You really need to commit yourself and incorporate this kind of professional work in your regular life, because interventional cardiology really is 24 over 7. And even what you mentioned, if something does not go well, after the procedure, you spend time with patient, with family. You come in the evening, you come during the night sometimes. So they need to go through all these, let's say, hard segments, and really accept this as part of the training process, but never lose the star that is at the end of the tunnel, that I want to be independent operator for complex cases, and I would like to spend my energy, and I would like to learn from everyone. You know that I organize in Belgrade, which is still outside the Europe. I organize yearly meeting for Southeastern Europe, and it's a regional meeting, but really with great interventionists all over the world. And thank you for accepting kindly this year to join our conference. I hope in the future you will find possibility to come and visit Belgrade and see all these people from our team. Uh, I believe it's inside you, that willingness to succeed, and you really need to follow the idea. Although there are so many obstacles on the road, and it doesn't always go easy or well.
And Cora, how do you keep yourself fit? Because that's a lot of work, as you mentioned. It's tiring. It's many hours. It's many years, decades. So how do you keep yourself in good shape to keep the body going and the motivation going?
Yeah, motivation is easy. I said it's I'm born with this motivation, which is not not that it's not waning. It's bigger and bigger with time. As many doors I open, I want to go more. So motivation is easy. And for the energy, the most responsible for my shape is my nephew, who is 5 years old, who is playing football. He's idol is Ronaldo, and I got the position of Messi. So on a daily basis, I try to play with him and try to catch up with his expectations.
Wonderful. And then, do you do any exercise? Do you do any reading, any meditation, anything, other things to keep you in good physical and mental shape as well?
Yeah, or I have a summer house which is on a hill 60 kilometers from Belgrade, and I spend free time during weekends. And I like biking, hiking. It's not a real mountain, but it's more a hill. But it's fantastic. It's nature, and it also refreshes my mind. And during the working days, I try to walk these 7,500 steps, and I'm very unhappy if I don't meet the target.
Wonderful. Now, what is your favorite book or favorite movie that you have?
Yeah, this is another difficult question. To be honest, I have several, but one that I particularly like is from the Afghanistan Khalid Hosseini and his novels. He's internal medicine specialist, as far as I know. And when I wrote "And the Mountains Echoed" and "The Kite Runner," I really enjoyed the way philosophy shared, and this is something that I read these days, and I recommend to my colleagues and friends. I mean, throughout the years, of course, you read a lot, but this specific period, I heard about him, but and now I got the chance. So when I traveled to TCT, I had really some time to read.
How about a movie?
For movie, you may laugh, but I like very much, of course, Deer Hunter. That is like legendary, and I like Forrest Gump very much. To be honest, this is something that I can still watch and still enjoy, and it's really Tom Hanks is one of my favorite actors, and I believe there is a lot of emotional energy that I feel my body while watching almost all of his movies.
Wonderful. Now, when it comes to other things or hobbies, apart from, obviously it's a very busy job, but do you have other things that you do
Yeah.
that keep you refreshed and motivated?
I don't have much time, but I like opera very much. And we have really a very nice opera theater in Belgrade. So I'm trying to be regular. And this is also something that helps me and fills me with positive energy, and my wife as well. So I cannot say that I have many other hobbies. I don't even have time, but
Yeah.
theater and opera is something that I really enjoyed very much, and at least for a couple of hours I go outside of this work full of energy and adrenaline.
Perfect. And what is your favorite opera?
I have to say that I still like most of Mozart's opera, and Figure of Marriage is, for example, one that is so nice and easy to enjoy the scene, and you really see the complete life of small ordinary people presented. But I like also Carmen very much, like more traditional one.
Wonderful. How many hours do you sleep every day?
This is something that I cannot work if I don't sleep at least 6 hours. So I try to convince myself to go to bed by midnight and then wake up at 6, because my first meeting starts at 7 in hospital. Between 7 and 7:30, I meet cat lab staff from the previous night, because I want to know if something went wrong or if something went very well. And then at 7:30, I meet heads of the department, and we have the plans until quarter to 8, just 15, 20 minutes. And then I have maybe 20 minutes, half an hour to meet cat lab team from that day to review angiograms. So I spend 1 hour, 15 minutes in the morning preparing for that day, and then 8:15, 8:30, I finish with all this administrative work, and then I go to my own commitments.
And then when do you typically get done? Do you get done early or you typically have to stay late in the night?
But this really depends from the period of time, and of course from the volume. It's sometimes you can go relatively early home. Sometimes you stay late, and then when you come back home, there is a lot of emails and the other, because there are so many parallel tracks. I'm really extremely happy to be part of Euro PCR team, and I'm responsible for the track of left main and bifurcations. So it's really already exciting part of the year now. Now we work for the sessions for the next May. And that also requires a lot of preparation, a lot of communication with people to make good teams, because team spirit is also very important aspect. So when you come back home, there is plenty of additional work that doesn't count. This you simply have to finish. And before we prepare EBC club, until this year, I remember, and I complained about that a few years back. I had to write myself during the summer to invite people to discuss the topics, more than 3,000 emails. And then I said, okay, we need to really change something. And now we created three committees inside the European Bifurcation Club. So now we have program committee, and Francesco Burzotta is current leader of that committee. And then we have a scientific committee. David Hildig Smith is leading that one. And we have also writing committee that works on the current consensus, and it's Tom Johnson currently in that position. And this October, we will change the board. This is my last year as the president of the club, so I will be past president and somebody else will be elected. So I really believe that new positive energy is really very important if you want to continue evolving.
Again, it's been a phenomenal work, leading the club and expanding it and making it more practical and all the advice. And actually, I love that you worked with a visible hard lab as well and
Yes.
helped expand its publications as well and the understanding. Now, what is the things you're most? I know you mentioned it already about your work with the UCTO, but what is the personally and professionally the things that you're the most proud that you've accomplished so far?
Yeah. Uh, yeah, as I already mentioned, being member of the EBC, being member of Euro PCR program committee, these are really two, at least for me professionally, the best achievements that I had, the main stage in Paris. And also this year at TCT, I have to admit, I got a keynote lecture, my approach to left main PCI, that is really recognition that I'm also extremely proud of. So TCT, Euro PCR, this is in the field that we both work all these years. I think presenting at the main stage is really a special feeling that I don't know how to explain. You are at the same time frightened and so proud of yourself. So in professional life is definitely EBC, Euro PCR, and TCT. I'm just starting this collaboration, and thanks to I became member of Sky, then fellow of Sky, and I'm also extremely proud that I'm now one of the members of the board of Sky, one of two international members. So I really keep learning and stealing knowledge from everywhere. And then I try immediately to share this knowledge here locally to wake up people and give them motivation to follow.
Wonderful, and it's been phenomenal. And what is the plans for the future? What are the things that excite you the most going down the line?
For the future, yeah, before retirement, I still feel full of energy. I think retirement is also related to energy. Not everyone has the same energy, and somehow I'm still very active in several fields, and I still have projects. I just applied this year and got project from our Ministry of Science that is related to microcirculation evaluation post primary PCI in STEMI, and then predictive value of indexes. I told you since 96 I like physiology very much, but somehow time that I spent with Antonio pushed me in the direction of bifurcations and practical complex PCI. But now I'm trying to build the team of, they are not fellows, they are really my friends and associates. Dr. Zlatko Mehmetbegovic, Dr. Dejan Milašinović, Dario Jelić, and Đorđe Mladenović, Lazar Travica. These are 5 people who are the core of Synergy meeting. And I'm actually working, trying to help them replace me.
Wonderful. So, Goran, again, you've done amazing work on so many fronts, both locally in your hospital in Serbia, but also internationally around the world. If you had to give your key pieces of advice for people who are starting now, they're in their graduating or starting or doing their fellowships or early career after fellowship, what do you think are the key things they should be aware of to help them succeed?
I think they have to follow the heart. I did it, I told you, and heart never mistakes. And of course, you need to love the job that you do. It needs to be here inside your heart if you want to have success, both professionally but also in the private life. If you do the job that you like, if you, for example, my brother is gynecologist, and when people ask me how is he doing, he works in the private clinic. I say I really admire him because he goes with smile to work. He comes with smile from his work. So this is something that I try to replicate myself and make job joy.
Wonderful. So, love what you do and you're going to be great at it.
Exactly. I truly believe that's the truth.
Wonderful. Well, I guess, for some people, maybe this comes more naturally, I could say, but some others, it might be something they discover down the line, but there's no question that the amount of time and energy it takes, you really have to love it to put the energy in and get the great results. Well, Goran, once again, thank you so much. Congratulations for everything, and both professionally, personally, and again, super excited to keep on working with you.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed very much, and we need to cooperate more. Manos, please give the opportunity to some other people from this part of the world. Thank you very much in advance.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for listening to the Sensei podcast.